What is up, guys? It is your boy Ancestral7 here. Welcome to another review video. Today I'm going to be reviewing Super Mario Galaxy 2 for the Wii. I recently played through this game and finally beat it after having it for like 8 years. So I'm gonna be talking about what I think of this game. So let's go right into it. Now, starting off with the presentation. Now, this game is obviously a sequel to the critically acclaimed Super Mario Galaxy, which is one of the very first games that I remember playing, and I have quite a bit of nostalgia with that game. I think it's amazing, but that's for another day. But Galaxy 2 is basically just a continuation of Galaxy 1. It has more levels, more stuff to do, and Yoshi. So, really for a sequel, it does everything that it needs to do in terms of being a good sequel. At least in my opinion. And of course, the visuals of the game are really, really solid. And while yes, the video footage on screen isn't really the best, when you actually play the game, it looks really freaking good. The level design can just look so cool. Like some worlds, like there's this one world where it's a bunch of these puzzles that are like these huge planets. It's just so cool. It's great. The presentation of this game is superb. And now moving on to the story. The story is Bowser kidnaps Peach. It's pretty much the same thing as that of Galaxy 1, but a lot less to it. I mean, I understand why. I know Miyamoto told the team don't put story in there, which I don't know why that's the case. But even so, though, for what they were able to put into the game, I think they did a good job. I think the story isn't really anything that spectacular. I think Galaxy 1 definitely has a much better story in the sense that it feels a lot more serious, but again, that's for another day. But overall, with Galaxy 2 story, it's passable, I guess. Though then again, Mario games are never really the pinnacle of storytelling. But what about the gameplay? Now, obvious, if you've played the Galaxy games before, you know they're 3D platformers, except Mario can run around planets because he's in space now. Sometimes. I'll get back to that in a little bit. But basically, you run around these planets, you find your way around them, whether it's defeat enemies or just follow the path to the next star to move forward. I mean, if you played Galaxy before, you already know how it's played. And gameplay-wise, it's pretty much the same thing as before, although there are a couple new additions. The first one that I mentioned before is Yoshi. And I mean, Yoshi was originally going to be in the first Galaxy game, but didn't happen. But now he's playable, and you can ride on him, and you can eat stuff and whatnot. And I welcome it. It's really cool. Because, I mean, every game with Yoshi in it is honestly automatically much better. At least in my opinion. But another new thing that they changed was the levels themselves. And this game is a lot more on the linear side. Now, Galaxy 1 was linear to at the end of the day, but it did feel like it was a bit more open in the sense of you could explore a little bit more and you could make your own path, kind of like 64 and Sunshine, albeit not the most. But Galaxy 2 uses a more traditional world map with lines and whatnot connecting galaxies and whatnot, basically very much more linear, and some people might like this, some people might not like this. I'm personally indifferent to it. It's fine for what it is. It's definitely not for the same people that really crave that exploration. Which, speaking of which, Starship Mario, it is massively inferior to the Comet Observatory. Easily inferior. I don't know. Starship Mario has a lot of stuff on there to do, but it's way too crammed. They should have made it a lot bigger, in my opinion, but I don't know, though. Regardless, though, the gameplay in this game is really solid. Like I said before, the level design for some of these galaxies are just so good. Honestly, I would just say play the game for yourself. There's this one, galaxy for this one star where you have to guide this chain chomp into a hole, and you have to, make a path for it. It's so cool. It's so freaking cool. And like I mentioned before, there's a, galaxy where you have to, get some puzzle pieces in the right place, and you also have, a galaxy that's similar to the one world in Super Mario Bros. 3 where everything's giant. It's really good. I really like what they did with the level design in this game. So gameplay-wise, it's pretty solid. And then control-wise, I mean, this is where I do have to get a little bit whiny, but it's not going to be for too long. I'm not the biggest on the controls. Now listen, I think the game controls well overall. However, I did notice some issues while playing the game. And it's simply the fact that when I was shaking the Wii Remote, I noticed that when you shake the Wii Remote up and down, like up and down, it doesn't do the spin, and you have to actually do it like horizontally, which that kind of threw me off and made me die a few times. Also, when you get hit, you just get launched, and there were several times where I would just barely miss my mark on hitting an enemy from above, and then the enemy would hit me right into the death pit, which was very annoying at some points. But really, though, that's the only real issues I have. And of course, like any Wii game, it has its motion controls and whatnot, which I'm not the biggest on, but hey, they're not the worst thing ever. But still, control-wise, it's good, but definitely not the best. But it's a Wii game, so what do you expect? And now going into the content of the game and how much content there is. I mean, honestly, I mean, that game was like $50 back when it first came out in 2010, and I got it for probably, I'd assume $30. I actually don't remember, but I'd say the game is pretty good. It was a bit shorter than I thought it would be, but it still was a decent enough length. I beat it in around like 9 hours or so, so it's not too long, but there's plenty of stuff to do after you finish the game, plenty of stuff to collect. And yeah, really, there's not, like, the game is going to give you plenty of content. And the music of this game. Oh, the music of this game is amazing. Just like Galaxy 1, it's orchestrated and it's so good. It's bliss to my ears. Although I do prefer Galaxy 1 soundtrack more overall, Galaxy 2 has some amazing songs. Like the final level theme. Oh, that's so good. The Yoshi Star Galaxy theme. Oh, it's so good. I love those songs. The music in the game is absolutely phenomenal. And now moving on to my final thoughts. Now, I think that this game is pretty solid, because honestly, I've always kind of thought that this game is rather overrated, and do I still feel that way? Yes, I do think that the game is overrated. Don't get me wrong, this game is really solid, and I think a pretty good game. But I do think that the game is overrated. I still prefer Galaxy 1 over Galaxy 2 because Galaxy 1 just has more stuff that I like about it. I like the story more in that game. I like how it feels a little bit more serious, even if it's not really that much different than your normal Mario plot. I like the empty feeling that Galaxy 1 has. There's like a video on YouTube about that, like the loneliness of Super Mario Galaxy. I really just like Galaxy 1 more. It's also because I grew up with it. I didn't really grow up with Galaxy 2 in the same way, so I kind of just gravitated toward Galaxy 1. But then again, though, I'm talking about Galaxy 2 here. But still, I figure bringing that up because a lot of people debate which one is better. But overall, Galaxy 2 is still a really solid game, and on my scale of 0 to 10, I give Super Mario Galaxy 2 a solid 8 out of 10. It is a really good game. I absolutely recommend getting it. And yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I mean, there is a reason that it's pretty high up on Metacritic in terms like score-wise. And while I don't think it should be that high, I do still think that the game is incredibly solid and that it's definitely worth your time. But then again, those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to watch me cover the first Galaxy game, then consider hitting the subscribe button so you can stay up to date with that sort of stuff. It really means a lot to me. Thank you in advance to those who do. But with that being said, this is NCSO7 signing out. Peace out and take care.